Hey guys, today we're looking at another budget motherboard. We've got the MSI Pro B760-P. After I covered the last MSI board, the B650 it was a really popular video in comparison to some others on my channel, and I'm guessing because of the great price that it was at. So I asked Scan if they'd be interested in me covering some other hot sellers, and we are here today with a little new series I'm going to be starting doing. I'm currently going to be focusing on the motherboards, but we could always branch out into some other hot sellers if you'd like to see that. So let me know what you think down below. But as I mentioned, this was kindly sent out by Scan Computers, one of the leading UK retailers. So a whole host of different components. They also have some 3XS pre-built systems if you're not really comfortable with building your own system. They also have some pro audio video gear. Loads of different things. I'll link them down below, and thank you of course to them for sending this out. So we're going to be looking at this board today, and this is currently selling for £119, so really good price point, especially if you're going to be building a cheaper gaming system. My thoughts went to the 14400K, 13400, even the 12400 if you're building something on a budget. This is a more business based motherboard apparently, but you know, it doesn't really matter. You can certainly use those for gaming, and vice versa. You can use gaming motherboards for creative stuff, so it doesn't really make a difference. Can't even get in the box. There we go. So let's have a look what we've got. Of course, the motherboard. I'll put that to the side for the minute. Let's see what else we've got below. So, quick installation guides. We don't seem to be getting any full thick manuals anymore. Now, I understand it takes a lot of paper, but I think that's one thing I would like to see. Just because it's so much easier than trying to find it on your phone and zooming in and stuff like that. To have a booklet is so much, yeah, I prefer that. So I would like to see those ideally. We've got a basic I/O shield, again budget board, so it's going to be a bit basic here. A single SATA right angled cable, another screw for an M.2, and then we've got our Wi-Fi antennas. So we do have Wi-Fi even on a budget board, which is always good. And here we go. So you can see straight off the bat where they've got the kind of business aspect from, a little bit less game aesthetic, but that can be a good thing for some people. Not everyone's keen on that kind of look. So B760, straight off the bat, I will quickly mention that you won't be able to support overclocking for your CPU. You can enable XMP, that's not a problem, but you won't be able to manually tweak your volts and core multipliers and things like that. So just something to bear in mind. So some pretty beefy VRM on this motherboard, and the heatsinks are pretty chunky as well. So you could support some higher end CPUs. I would say though, the more you spend on a CPU, I would spend a bit more on the motherboard as well to kind of make sure it matches. Certainly don't go sticking a 14900K in a board like this. I'd certainly recommend something a bit more premium, so you just have a bit more stability. So let's have a run around. On the top left hand side, we've got our 8-pin EPS connectors, also a +4. You may be able to get away with a single 8-pin on there. You may not need both, but the majority of PSUs come with both those connectors anyway, so you just well connect them up. Going a bit further along, we've got two 4-pin headers. We've got our first 5-volt addressable RGB. There's another two headers for 4-pin on the side there, so you've got 4 fans just in that little corner. There's some LEDs for when it's actually turning on and posting, so it tells you what's going on with the board. Very handy things to have. Got our 24-pin motherboard power. You've got a USB 3 header down there for your Type A ports, and then also a Type C. Both of those are 5 gigabits per second. Going on the right angle, we've got some SATA ports if you want to use any internal SSDs or hard drives. Front panel stuff is in the right hand corner, bottom right there. We have got a Thunderbolt header as well for anyone who wants to use an add-in card. There's two USB 2 headers for anything like hubs and fan controllers that use that kind of like software control. A couple more 4-pin headers further along, and we've got an additional 5-volt adjustable RGB, then a standard 12-volt. Then you've got your front panel audio on the bottom left. There's also another system fan header just above the heatsink there for the M.2. So that's a total of 7 4-pin headers on this motherboard. So our socket LJ1700, so support for 12th, 13th and 14th gen. Hopefully by the time you actually go to buy one of these, it will have support for 14th gen for anyone that's actually wanting to use one of the latest CPUs. Our DIMM slots on this board are going to be DDR4. You can support up to 128 gigabytes at 5333 megahertz. That's with XMP. If you want to push it manually, you can do. Onto our storage and PCI slots, let's have a look at what we've got under this heatsink. So taking off that heatsink, on the back we have got a thermal pad. Don't forget to take off the tape when you install your SSD. That will support up to 110mm drive at Gen 4 speeds, and you've also got an additional M.2 at the bottom right hand side. You will have to add the little standoff and then the screw like I showed you in the box, but then you can support up to 2 drives in here at Gen 4 speeds. So our PCIe X16 slot, we've got 2 on this system. The top one is an armoured one, which will run at Gen 4 speeds, as will the bottom. And we've got some other PCIe 3 lanes, which will run at X1 speeds, but perfect for things like sound cards and capture cards and things like that. So popping that heatsink back on, let's go and look at the rear I/O, see what we've got in terms of our options. So we've got two USB 2 ports. We've also got a PS2 port. So if you're going to use some old school accessories, you can do. PS2 is very reliable though, so it's a good option as a backup. We've got a DisplayPort 1.4 and HDMI 2.1. So if you've got a K-series processor, you need to do a bit of troubleshooting, and they're handy to have. We've got two more USB 2 ports. There's also a Type C. This is USB 3.2 Gen 2. Going back to the red ones, these are USB 3.2 Gen 1. And then we've also got a 2.5 gig LAN above that. We've got a Wi-Fi antenna points. This will support Wi-Fi 6E. Then you have got some basic audio at the bottom. So I feel I got around the overview of that board a bit quicker, but there's not too much to talk about as it is a bit more stripped back, but it has exactly what you need it for a basic budget system. So it's ideal, and the price point £120, I think you can't really go wrong either. I'm going to be using this in a budget H6 NZXT build very soon with the 14400. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and don't forget to get subscribed and hit the bell so you don't miss when that goes up. I'm going to aim for about a £600 price point, I think. I'm really looking forward to doing some more budget stuff, so I hope you guys are too. Any more questions, let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Links will be in the description for this. If you want to pick one up, of course, thank you to Scam for sending it out for me to look at. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.